Hi folks, hope you're well. So we've come up to the northwest of the mainland Orkney here to visit it's a tidal island called the BROUGH, and its history is that it was inhabited from the early kind of 600s by the Picts, and there's actually like a Pictish fort over there, but it was more famous for once the Picts were driven out by the Norse, by the Vikings. It was their main headquarters, their main capital on Orkney, and it was kind of ruled by the mighty Earl Thorfinn, known as Earl Thorfinn the Mighty. He was the Earl of Orkney, a Viking. That was around the time of like 1014 to 1050 roughly. But what we'll do is we'll take a visit over to it, but unfortunately we've arrived and it's, as I say, it's very much up in the northwest sort of coast of Orkney, and it's very, very exposed. And I've just jumped out the van here and see Kirsty's just sat still in it because it was bucking it down, blowing a hoolie, but the sun's came out now. But unfortunately, we can't actually get over to it just now because it's a tidal island. I don't know, I'll just try to take you over here and zoom in. And you can see here, if I can manage to work this thing, you can see just kind of down here under the water, it zigzags across. So we'll have to wait for the tide to come out to go over there. But it's quite an interesting little settlement. You know, as I say, it's a Viking settlement built over a Pict one. There's a church in it. What's quite cool about it, although it's from the 1000s, you can actually see all the drainage in the water, and actually saunas and hot water running in it and stuff. So it's very, very cool that way. Very exposed as well. So you can see why around the time of the 1200s they moved the capital over to Kirkwall after that, because it's so exposed. But I'd call it a small settlement village of BIRSAY itself, which is just maybe kind of quarter of the mile down the road here. That at a later date was kind of kept as the main palace as well of the Earl of Orkney at the time. But we'll stop off later on after we've been over to the island, and I'll give you a little bit of the history of that as well, you know. So for now, it's just a case of waiting for the weather to clean. Hopefully the sea level goes down and we can get across to the island after driving here. Speak soon. So it looks like we'll have to wait around for a good hour for the tide to come down. Fortunately, it's starting to drop just now according to the internet. We're lucky enough to get a signal here nowadays. But you can see as I walk down across the beach and you kind of come into this area, you can see straight away where if I jump to the side on these rocks, you'll see the wee causeway. You've got to be careful you don't get stranded one of these type places. You can see it's not high just now. There's still kind of water coming over, but you get further out in the channel over here, it's a lot deeper and stuff, so we'll have to give it a good half an hour, make sure it clears. And then you've got plenty of time because I think it's like a 6-hour swing with the tides. So once it does go down, you've got a good 6 hours, so that you're not really going to get stranded. It's very slow coming on and slow coming off. It's just a case of chilling out. What a lovely wee spot as well, you know, when the weather is nice. You can see here. So we've left it about 40 minutes and the tide seems to have gone down now, where it'll just be a case of crossing a little bit of tiny water. You can see the difference is totally dropped 2-3 feet. Little tiny bit right in the middle, going to have to cross. We were just watching the people debating and one or two of them just made a run for it with ankles. But should be fine to cross just now. That gives you like 6 hours once you're getting to this point, you know. You'll see in a minute. I've still got to cross. It's just water after all. Wet feet. I can see somebody's actually got some stepping stones there for you to kind of jump across, you know. And we're across anyway. You can see once you get to the other side of the causeway, you've got to take your time. So these rocks, you've just got to climb across till you get up to the Viking settlement. As you can see, it's quite a protective little fort, you know. I mentioned earlier on in the video, it was traditionally they've got artefacts they've found when they've excavated, where they know it was a Pictish settlement before, Pictish fort. The Vikings have obviously driven them away at a later date, taken over this, made it their capital. But even though the tides just went out, I think this section with the rocks stays pretty dry unless it's a high tide, because it's very easy going. It's not a case of they're very slippy and wet. It's very dry. And we're across. So, as you'll see in a second, it's the settlement, the Viking settlement's right at the edge of the cliffs here, looking across. And it's very cool. This is the thing I like best about it, is all over it you can see down here they've cleared sections where you can see down into there. They've had drainage all the way through the settlement. It's a better example here, running down. And it just follows it all the way down. It comes off the cliffs. And then here, right beside the drains, which obviously flow into it, you can see. How cool is that in the 1000s, having a sauna in an island off Orkney here, right on the cliffs. What you've got to the side here, just where I'm pointing over here, right in the corner here, over to the side, that's where the blacksmiths area was. So obviously these would have been thatched cottages, not cottages, thatched buildings and halls. You wouldn't have wanted the embers from the fires to catch light of them. But by the time the Vikings were here, and Thorfinn the Mighty was in charge, who was the Earl of Orkney, it was around the time of King Macbeth. The Vikings had sort of become Christians, so I'm just kind of coming up. You can see it's a rather large settlement everywhere. And I'm coming up to the section that was a church. It's kind of the most, you can see here, it's kind of most of it still remaining here, more than any other part of the settlement. We are coming in from the top section here. Oh, and there's wee Barra's just suddenly appeared. I thought it was myself. Kirsty was too scared to go across the causeway, but she's obviously seen I've not drowned and shot across after me as she's there. But yeah, this is your church here. You can see your altar and the chancellery coming round here. I'll just try and find the longhouse, but it's a very big settlement. It goes right up the back here. Some of the old sort of Viking and Pictish houses. But you can see it would have been very substantial. Where they kept the ships, I'm not too sure. As I say, it's a tidal island, and the way it's positioned, although you're really exposed, the island itself is sloped and the settlement's at the bottom of the hill. And you can see here where Kirsty and Barra's going and a lot of other people. You can climb right up to the top of the island up there, and it's got a modern day unmanned lighthouse. And then just beyond that, if you get up here in decent weather, there's high cliffs, and it is high, and there's puffin colonies which are pretty spectacular to see, but I'd only advise it if it's a decent day and you're not scared of heights, because it's kind of quite an awesome view. But and you see all the puffins, so you take binoculars with you. But yeah, quite cool. Thorfinn the Mighty's Viking capital in Orkney. And here's a little information board showing you what it would have looked like. Remains of Norse houses from the 900s and 1000s. Apparently we're about to play a game of hide and seek.
Barra, come here. Barra.
Kirsty doesn't have the love of the history and the archaeology I do, so I come here and I'm like just loving thousands of years old structures, and Kirsty turns it into let's go and play hide and seek. Right. You keep them. Yep. You have to keep them. Right. You have to stay there. You'll find it in about 2 seconds flat. Plus we're in our 50s now, so it'll take her about half an hour to get up the hill. It'll take him about 4 seconds to get there. And I'm so tempted just to ruin our game and let him go just now. It's as if he's stupid, you can't see her or anything. Watch this one, how quickly. Right, go get your mummy, go get your mummy, go get your mummy. Go find her. Go find her. Now he's away up the hill. And he's got her. Right, well, what we're planning to do now is we're kind of just going to go a wee quiet walk around here. And then we're kind of going to go down the coast a little bit to an area called I think it's BROUGH. It's kind of like a Skara Brae settlement, quite old, but it's a lot quieter in Skara Brae. We were there earlier on today, hello Barra, and it was that busy we couldn't even get in, so we're kind of just going around the mainland, and then we're catching a ferry this evening and we're going over to the Isle of Sandy. We're going to spend a couple of days over there and explore Sandy. So we're just killing time just now. So we're going to head along the coast to the BROUGH, Burness, I should say, BROUGH Burness. And then it'll be a case of heading down to Kirkwall, getting a wee coffee, then getting a ferry. I think it's 2.5 to 3 hours to Sandy, to stops at other islands. So catch you there then.